Have you ever wondered why some places stay with you forever? Not because of a famous building, not because of a landmark, but because of how they made you feel. Maybe it was a street, a neighborhood, a path you walked every day. Years later, you still remember it. Why? Why do some places feel like home, while others never do? I think the answer begins with something surprisingly simple: walking. In my previous video, I introduced the design philosophy behind Masari Walk. And at the center of that philosophy is one idea: walkability. But walkability is not simply about getting from point A to point B. It is about something much deeper. Because when we walk, we don't simply move, we connect. We connect with a place. And when we connect with a place, we begin connecting with the people around us too. That connection lowers stress, it improves well-being, and slowly it changes how we experience a city. But here's something interesting. Researchers have been studying this. In 2023, the Japan Advanced Institute of Science and Technology found that people who feel emotionally connected to their neighborhoods are more likely to walk regularly. And the more walkable a place becomes, the stronger that emotional connection becomes. Think about that for a moment. We often assume people walk because they love a place, but perhaps the opposite is also true. Maybe walking is one of the reasons people begin loving a place. You can feel this in places like Fahidi Historical District. The buildings are not the tallest, the streets are not the widest, the technology is not the most advanced. And yet, people slow down, they explore, they observe, they remember the narrow lanes, the shaded courtyards, the human scale. Everything encourages you to experience the place, not rush through it. And that experience creates attachment, it creates belonging. It helps a city develop something many developments struggle to achieve: a soul. But why does belonging matter? Because once people feel connected to a place, something remarkable happens. The benefits extend far beyond the place itself. Walking does something that most people never think about. It can actually change the way we think. Researchers at Stanford University found that walking can increase creativity by up to 60%. Simply moving through space helps people generate new ideas and think more clearly. Honestly, that doesn't surprise me at all. Whenever I face a design challenge, I walk. Some of my best ideas have appeared during a walk, not while sitting at a desk, not while staring at a screen, but while moving, observing, thinking. Walking seems to unlock something inside the mind, and the benefits go even further. Researchers from the National Institute on Aging found that walking, especially when combined with social interaction, can improve memory, cognitive health, and emotional well-being in older adults. Even 30 minutes of walking with others has been linked to lower stress, better mood, and a reduced risk of dementia. These aren't just statistics. They remind us that walking is part of being human, physically, mentally, emotionally. So belonging changes more than how we experience a city. It changes how we think, how we feel, and even how we live. But it does not stop there. Places that create belonging often become more successful economically as well. Think about some of the world's most successful public spaces. Traditional souks, historic European cities, great waterfront promenades, vibrant pedestrian districts. Why do people enjoy them? They are not necessarily the fastest places. In many cases, they are intentionally slower, and that may be the point. In 2009, Times Square was partially closed to traffic and transformed into a pedestrian plaza. Many people questioned the decision. Would it hurt business? Would it create traffic problems? But the opposite happened. Retail sales increased by more than 25%, pedestrian injuries dropped by 40%, and the area became one of the most vibrant public spaces in the city. Why? Because people stopped rushing through it. They stayed, they explored, they interacted, and the place became more valuable. If creating belonging generates value in cities, what happens in places where people do not even intend to stay? Surprisingly, we see the same pattern in airports. An airport is designed for efficiency. People are trying to reach a destination. Yet some of the world's most successful terminals generate extraordinary retail performance. Why? Because even in a place designed for movement, human beings still respond to exploration. Many of the world's most successful airports are no longer designed simply as transportation hubs. They are designed as places where people can comfortably walk, browse, relax, and spend time. Think about that. Airports are places people are trying to leave. Malls are places people intentionally visit. Yet many airports outperform them. Because successful places are not defined only by what they contain. They are defined by how people experience them. In many airports, the journey itself becomes part of the destination, and that experience creates value. Perhaps that is the deeper lesson. Movement is not simply circulation, it is an opportunity for connection, and connection creates value. And this principle is not limited to New York or airports. You can see the same pattern in Dubai. Places like City Walk and Expo were designed around pedestrian movement, and because of that, they became more than destinations. They became experiences, places full of life, culture, activity, and commerce. Walking activates a city, it supports local businesses, it encourages social interaction, and it transforms a place from something people pass through into something people belong to. Perhaps this is why so many of us remember childhood differently. Not because the streets were perfect, not because the architecture was extraordinary, but because we experienced them on foot. Running freely with friends, playing outdoors, meeting neighbors, stopping at local shops, talking to people without planning to. Walking was never just movement. It was where life happened. It was where friendships formed, where stories were created, where memories were made, where community emerged. And maybe that is what we have forgotten. As you know, a city is not simply a collection of buildings. It is a collection of experiences. And most of those experiences begin with a simple step. That is the city I imagine, not a city defined only by architecture, but a city defined by belonging, a city that feels connected, a city that feels human, a city that feels alive, a city that feels like home. And that is why Masari Walk places walkability at the center of its vision. Not because people need another path, but because people need another way to belong.